Thinking about it. In person, online, what are the etiquettes out there for debates around this year's election?
And then it was opened and there was talk, and I don't know how much it is, but background checks were not being done correctly.
As event season kicks off around this year's election, it's really important to know exactly what you can do, how you should react, and how you deal with disinformation and bullshit from your candidates.
Sorry, and
where's that in Parliament?
I'm talking about, well, when they bring in even things with like the Paris Accord, we were not, we were not sort of consulted on things like this.
Hello there.
Hi.
So for those that didn't get the message in the chat, Jordan is off sick tonight and Sean has a prior engagement. Jackson has very graciously decided to step in and join us. Jackson, would you like to introduce yourself to the crowd?
Yeah, kia ora koutou. Thanks for having me. Bear with me tonight. I'm sorry I'm not Jordan, and I'm sorry I'm not Sean, but I'm Jackson.
You're brilliant.
I'm Jackson.nz. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook sometimes, but my background is finance and economics, so I tend to keep my opinions directed in that angle, and also include opinions about anything else I feel like on a particular day, but usually I try and keep in that area, and lots of it is around politics as well, given they hold the steering wheel to our economy. So that's me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It's awesome. And of course, we've got Bree, who is always amazing. How are you holding up, Bree?
I'm doing good. I've had a lot happening. My sister just had a baby, so I've become an auntie, which is exciting. And
that's so cool.
Congratulations.
For a few different like webinars, conferences that I'll be speaking at, doing a lot of homework. Yeah, just kind of grinding, hoping we're just pushing to the election.
Yeah, which is 83 days away. I should know this. I just updated my website yesterday, so I should know this.
Where are you?
I know. So for those of you that want to visit the website, election2026.co.nz, I did big updates on there yesterday. We now have more information on how the poll aggregate works, because I had a few people asking how you work out when you've got all these polls coming in, what the tracking actually is. We've updated a policy picker that's on there and what we call a political ahonga or compass. Policy picker lets you go through and go, I like this policy, I like that policy, and then at the end it'll go, well, these are the parties that the policies that you've picked line up with. The other one's value statements. So you go, yeah, I agree that I think, kids should be locked up even though that it doesn't work, that kind of thing. Paul Goldsmith would say that. So that's on there as well. And it will give you a value judgment based on what your value judgment is and which parties kind of align to that. Also updated the fact checks, which have been really busy at the moment because somebody likes to lie a lot, Simeon. That's also now available in a searchable, downloadable database on the fact check page. And there's some new graphs and stuff like that on there that show you some horrible measurements like the number of people who are waiting more than 6 hours in an ED, or the number of people who are doing emergency withdrawals on their KiwiSaver these days, and how the numbers are going up. The worst possible places. And I'm finally getting somebody to look at the security certificate on that, because it's supposed to work and it doesn't always. So if anyone wants to check that out, they can. Actually, when it comes to KiwiSavers, Jackson, have you come across people that are like, I need my money because times are shit?
I do hear from people on social media about that quite a bit, actually, trying to unpick exactly how they get to it. I mean, the stats, I think, are the worst ever for hardship withdrawal. So to give you, I'm usually dealing with people who are taking it out to buy their first home, the positive side. I don't get to see the other side in the work in mahi that I do. But so the amount of people withdrawing it for hardships is greater than the number withdrawing it for first homes. So it's pretty scary. And it's only going,
that is scary.
It's breaking records every month.
Just like business liquidations and unemployment numbers.
And yet they'll claim, it's record number first home buyers at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
Yeah.
greater percentage of buyers because no one else is. Well, people really aren't in a position to buy a house because people can't even afford to pay their power at the moment. So there's barely record numbers of everyone buying houses just now. So it is a percentage, yes, maybe higher, but when you not actual numbers, so it's classic spinning the numbers.
Yeah, and every government does that. Every government spins numbers. It's kind of scary,
especially at this point in a term.
Yeah, for me, it feels like the end of a third term, just with all of the bullshit and all of the just what we saw last week with the leadership spill. That feels like a third term thing, not the end of a third year on a first term.
And I think the billboards, the national billboards where they have the green, black, red thing with lots of misinformation on it, that's real desperate end of third material.
I'm disappointed I didn't win Lotto because I wanted, like triple the unemployment. I'd love to pay for something like that.
We can do a GoFundMe for that, Paul.
I'm surprised
but by the time we get it sorted,
I'm surprised no one's grabbed a paintball gun and been like dun, 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 at the poster. But I noticed that they actually have cameras around a lot of them, so I think they suspected people would maybe do that.
Oh, I suppose if they're paid for billboards as well, there's going to be an investment from the company that wants to make sure that. The one that I find funny is we've got, I think it's Jolly Billboards, have a spot here up by Hoyt's Wairo, and RCR is advertising with Jolly because the person who owns Jolly is a big Voices for Freedom member, and they've got this thing that keeps popping up going brains not included or something like warning may engage brains. If that's your warning for trying to get people to watch your media outlet, then the message is just completely backwards. These people just don't know how to do billboards. What if we got like projectors and found like big blank spaces somewhere and just projected onto it? Just the come out with ideas, spitballing.
Okay, we can do it. Let's do it.
The one on the motorway, Jackson, you will have seen it. It's like,
that is the worst.
Tax to the max or live life to the max or something. I'm like,
it's the worst because you can't get away from it for about 5 to 10 minutes, or depending on traffic. So you're just looking at it, stuck in traffic, and you can't get away from it. So it's right, the road's there and the billboard's there, so it's in eye range for about 10 minutes on a bad day.
We have one on State Highway 20. I passed it last night on my way down to Papatoetoi for the BHN discussion, and I saw it just going, "You fucking bastard! You fucking bastard!" Yeah. And it was the live life, was it life to the max, life full of tax or some shit? It's just
slogans are crap. I keep build life. They like build the basics, fix the future. I don't even all of them.
Fix the basics. They've had 3 years to fix the basics, and so far, don't think they're doing a great job.
Weren't we meant to be getting back on track?
Back on track, not the first rodeo. Continued. Yeah, I guess it's very bad. I should do some housekeeping because that's how we pay the bills here. Don't forget the official BHN merch store is available at the moment. You can grab yourself things. I saw so many of these last night. Was it the same when you were in Dunedin? These popping up everywhere?
Definitely people wearing some of them and people buying them, which was
I like that one.
Yeah.
The Chewy Fufu.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Wooming. I don't know if Wooming is in the audio in the chat room tonight, but he's got the OG green Chewy Fufu, and he's walking around with it last night. And Pat's like, "Oh my god, I forgot we did it in this color." And yeah, it's very cool to see, seeing all the merchandise. Although I didn't see any Nikki No Boats there last night. It's very cool.
That is great.
Now, Ems is probably still on a plane flying back down to Christchurch, but she's told me we can look at collective merch probably around Christmas. After the election, got to get through the election and everything first, and then she should have a bit more time to actually design some stuff. She's got to be inspired. So if in the chat, if anyone wants to give suggestions on what collective merch should look like, I'm sure Ems will have a chance to sit down and read it afterwards. I'm so blown away, actually. I didn't realize how much production went into the event itself up here. And I'm guessing it's the same in Dunedin. It's just massive tech desks, cameras everywhere, actual like walkie-talkies and the earpiece thing. It was
Me and
huge.
Pat went to PB Tech literally like 3 times in the same day, just because we were like, quads.
Yeah, it is full on. Huge amount of work that goes into it. So big congratulations to everybody involved. There's a loaded question. Did you guys watch the event last night yet?
Yes. Yeah, I watched it live.
I didn't watch it live, but I have watched some.
It was
not everyone went, did they?
No. David Seymour pulled out Thursday night. Right. Thursday night? Friday. Yeah. Might have been Friday night. I don't know. No, it must have been Thursday because I was talking to them about it on air before I talked about Open Brief. And I got a message from Ems actually Thursday going, can we bump you by half an hour? Pat's got news. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on here? But it was kind of strange. And then I sort of jumped in and I was in the waiting room while he was talking, and he's talking about David Seymour, like, oh shit. I'm not surprised. David's a drop nuts at the best of times when he's playing.
I mean, it's disappointing, right? To all not be there, but kind of not a bad thing either. We've seen enough of him, to be fair. But sorry, Brie, I interrupted you there.
I just feel like, isn't it allowed? Like, if you went to a concert, with Queen and then Freddie Mercury cancelled, you didn't really get tickets to Queen. So it's just a bit like David should maybe refund every single person that paid for the event. So they did do
a few refunds?
That is open markets. Open markets work that way. He should really be refunding everyone.
Yeah. Not Pat Chewy. David.
Yeah, Pat and Chewy were very gracious about it and understood, that there were people there who expected this debate, and obviously it wasn't going to go as planned. And when I was talking to them on Friday, they felt really sorry initially for Casey Costello because she was going to be the only person representing the entire coalition bloc, and then she pulled out. And the message that they got, I don't know if they put that on air or not, but the message that they got from New Zealand First was very similar to the messaging from David. Basically, why would we do this? Why would we put ourselves forward to be in that particular issue? Why would we the ones that are out there? Apparently, Media Watchers featured BHN's debates today. I didn't realize that. So that would be cool to check out. So yeah, I totally get why they did that. And when I saw them on Friday night, there was this concern of, crap, everything's been thrown to the wind. What do we do now? By the time I caught up with them on Saturday before the show, it was we've rejigged and we think this is going to be even better. It's a discussion. We've got great people coming in. Like I think it was Kirsty Wong came in and speaking to Te Tiriti from a really awesome Tauiwi kind of perspective was amazing. Like the audience absolutely loved it. And even our one right winger on there, he was relatively conciliatory. And so I think people were expecting more fireworks, but it was really great discussions. So I'm really curious to see how that happens now with the finance and the education conversations that they have. It should be really interesting.
What I noticed, Pat, was when Paul, sorry. You're acting like Pat, you're the host right now.
I'm sorry. I don't have a big enough beard.
I noticed when you asked them a question, the right wing guy, he wasn't, he was lovely. When you asked him, did you know that they've put a ministerial sort of appointed board into the teaching council? He was like, no, I didn't know about that. And I'm like, that's the problem, is like no one on their side, like everyone's like, Erica Stanford's amazing. No, she is not. Like, it's been blowing my mind.
I actually texted Pat during the show, and like I know he's juggling papers and everything. And I should point out as well, Pat has literally just texted me, and it was Kirsty Fong, who is there giving that perspective, who teaches around Te Tiriti. Absolutely amazing person to sit down and listen to. But yeah, I texted Pat during the middle thing while the guy from Pillar was talking with that comment. I'm like, please say something. And then I'm like, I know Pat's juggling a million things and it's not going to get a mention because the conversation moves on. So when I had the microphone, it was really bloody minded of me, but I'm like, I have to get this out there. I have to make sure that at least one fact check is done tonight, because it bugs me when people don't.
I was like, thank you for mentioning the teaching council. Everyone forgets.
Teaching council is a big move. Very big move. So yeah, BHN store is available for anybody that wants to go and buy stuff. Just bhnshop.nz. It's all on there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Make great Christmas presents, and for election events. If you want to go to an election event wearing something like this, absolutely. This one here, actually, Ditch the Pricks in 26, was something I believe New Zealand first mentioned as one of the reasons why they didn't want to be at the event. Like, why would we go to something that you were selling this at?
So buy that for your cooker uncle this Christmas, I reckon. Just as a little reminder, 1 month after the election. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in our debate, the first one, we didn't put those out purposely because we were like, we don't want to make them feel. And also, it's just so weird because I met both Todd and Casey, and they were lovely. And I took them backstage, and I shook their hand, and I'm like, where did this come from? Seems more like David Seymour just had a panic.
He was so busy making his announcement this morning that everything is going to be equal rights, and there's going to be no more good employers. It was not worth getting out of bed for that particular announcement, or for Erica's press conference today.
I can't believe I dialed into that.
Quiet day.
I expected more policy announcements today. Actually, I don't think there were too many.
Well, the Te Pāti Māori had an announcement today on what their goal is, what their plan is going forward. And it's essentially what we've been seeing pop up online around the commentary space, where they're going to be focusing on trying to win the electorates and encouraging people to go and vote for Labour or the Greens instead, so that they create an overhang. Obviously, the more MPs on the left, the more likely it is that we're going to get a left-leaning government that comes in. So this is how they decided to approach that. Do you guys have thoughts on that particular plan?
Yeah, the science is a little bit confusing. To your point earlier in the chat, looking at percentages and trying to convert that into seats is enough of a battle for me. I need Jack Tame to be breaking it down for me, what the numbers actually mean. But it makes sense. I think I've seen a few videos there, and I see it on every political video that exists. Is the messaging is party vote, Labour, Green, and then electorate vote, and they specifically name the electorate representatives to vote for, which are mostly in Te Pāti Māori. And I think my understanding is you gain some extra seat potentially with overhang. So that kind of makes sense, right? Like, why wouldn't you pull out, if the mission is to flip things, then why not pull out every little trick possible? So I don't understand it in great detail, but if it's one thing that could change things, then why not explore that?
I feel like in hindsight, we were all like, people have been put off Te Pāti Māori because of their infighting, but like, look at this current lot.
Like, national this last week.
No one talk about Te Pāti Māori after the last few weeks.
Can you bring them back to the table, please?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love a three-way Labour, Greens, Te Pāti Māori coalition. That sounds great. Can we do that?
Yeah. Well, we can if people vote. And so it's a really good time to remind people that they have to make sure that their registration for voting is up to date before the early voting period starts. You've got until October 25 to ensure your details are up to date. If your details are not up to date, then you may be able to cast a special vote. You might not. Who knows? Because this government sucks and tries to stop people from being able to vote. So don't risk it. Head to vote.nz and make sure your details are up to date. I was actually reading this week, Willow Jean Prime found out that she'd been bumped off the list of the electoral
dormant role, isn't it?
And she did everything right, because she hasn't moved in years. She's lived in the same place. So these things keep going, update your details, and there's nothing to update. And so she gets moved automatically. So really good reminder for people.
What is the last day to register to vote? What is the last day to register to vote? Because they've changed that too, haven't they?
October 25 at the moment.
Oh, that is the last day to register.
Yeah. Labour Day.
So the weekend before, guys, because you might be on holiday.
Yeah, long weekend. Especially if you're studying, because most of the universities and tertiary institutions around the country, that week is either a study week or an exam week. Those 2 weeks for the early voting period. And so you might be head down studying, which is awesome, or you might have finished and moving back home with mum and dad for the holidays. Suddenly your address changes and you're not up to date anymore with your details, and you're not allowed to vote. So got to make sure that that doesn't happen this year. And it will piss off Paul Goldsmith if you remember to do this in advance, and he might need that. Should we run a poll?
Fun, yes.
Yeah, I like these polls. All right, so this one.
What's another one? Yeah.
So lots of polls. This is a really simple one. People can vote just by writing the number down into the comments section, and it's a really simple. Have you ever been to an in-person Meet the Candidates event? Yes, no, or not sure. I'm not sure of how you'd not be sure. You might have fallen asleep during it. Depends who's talking. When our local ACT candidate talks, I know people fall asleep. I had somebody call him, what was it, a hipster slender man the other day. Our local ACT candidate, which is he's an interesting fellow. So yeah, if people want to vote on that, just 1, 2, 3 in the chat, super easy, and we'll come back to that during the night and see how things go. See, No's already taken an early lead. Ooh, okay.
I feel like they need to stop putting on events and start putting on concerts. If it was a Meet the Candidate concert, maybe I'd go.
Yeah.
Or karaoke.
Yeah.
I'd see the candidates do karaoke. That would be way better. Just to open it.
It'd be so good.
So this one here from Jake, he's like, oh, I missed the poll question. It's just, have you ever been to an in-person Meet the Candidate event? 1, 2, 3. Yes, no, maybe. So super simple, right up there. So this week, before I jump into the millions of slides that I prepared because I'm a nerd, how have you guys felt about what's been making news this week around leadership struggles, leadership struggle buses?
I've really enjoyed Stuff's juicy sort of what's really happening, like who's really behind it. I feel like that grabs people's attention. I've been really enjoying it. I was going to do a whole status about how I think Stuff's up their game, but I am annoyed that no one's mentioned the space judicial review that's happening, and wish that had more attention. And I can kind of get that they may be waiting for it to actually happen in court before they say anything, but I just think it's interesting timing. What do you guys think?
Interesting timing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a very slow day waiting for that. Even waiting for the press conference to start was a very slow couple of minutes. It felt like an hour just waiting for things to happen. It didn't really go the way that I thought it was going to go, or how most people thought it was going to go. But there's just, I don't think it's good for them at all, which is good. Yeah, but it's probably left people not trusting them even further, because there is no way that there was full support. There is absolutely no way, and there's no way that Chris Pink ran for that position unless they just created that situation within the 3 hours that happened. Yeah,
it seems we're never going to know the truth, I don't think.
Yeah, it was a bad week for them, because you're not heard much from Winston or David. So that's a sit back week for them. Yes. Here they go. They're going to embarrass themselves. We'll just leave them to that.
They'll win votes from the turmoil within the National Party. Yeah, it was. I don't think I've ever seen anyone look so dejected as Christopher Luxon on that stage, going, "I've got the full support of my caucus."
Everyone.
Really? At least he didn't blame the media this time around. Because last time it was, I've got the full support and it's all your fault. This time it was, I've got all the full support and I'm going to go have lunch now.
And if that was true, why did you reckon he need a press conference today? Why do we need a press conference to tell us something that we were just told the other day?
Yeah.
And then they all posted weird videos. Like Sue's Redmayne posted a video of her eating a school lunch, and it looked shit.
It looked awkward.
So yuck.
I think she chewed it about 30 times. I just saw it. I don't think she swallowed it in that whole video.
Oh my god.
It was so funny. I was sad that I was laughing so much at that video. It's a good watch.
Oh my god. Do
He's
they
like,
are they not aware of how bad it looks?
It was in her office, and she's kind of moving it around with her fork. It had it on, and lovely. She made it look really nice. It probably
Yeah.
wasn't even the food. It probably wasn't even the food. It was just
Mm.
something made. But
And like, why are they
it's a
daring you?
hilarious video.
Why are the kids daring you to eat the school lunch? Is it bad?
How are they sending her a message if kids aren't allowed phones in school?
Well, she's at the school.
Yeah.
Oh, well, is she? Was she in the office? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So that would have been great though to see the kids just making her do that and go, oh, it'll be like when David announced them and he was eating them. I remember hearing afterwards him going, it doesn't matter how it tasted. He made damn sure people thought he enjoyed it. Well, he thought he did.
Yeah.
Because he had to sell it. But, my favorite thing about Compass, that the company that does a large chunk of the catering, when they announced who it was that was getting the contract, one of the first news stories I came across about them, which was about 10 years old to be fair, was this woman who had survived concentration camps with the Nazis going, and now she was in a rest home that Compass catered. She goes, the Nazis fed us better than these people do. It's just like, that's a really bad indictment. Like, yeah. Nobody wants to say the Nazis did things better unless they were in New Zealand first.
But yeah, cabbage soup does look better than some of those meals. But yeah, it was an interesting week. I didn't like feeling being made out like, I feel like the whole week, all these announcements, all these press conferences have been talking to us like we're idiots and we don't know the realities of what happened in 3 hours and flying everyone to Wellington, and all the announcements that came out. I think, it doesn't show and ooze honesty, saying everything's fine, 100% support, fully support. It leaves everyone wondering, so it won't be good for them. But I don't think anyone likes being treated like, I don't think we like being spoken to like we're stupid. And we can see what happened.
Doesn't endear them to voters. What about today's announcement from Paul Goldsmith that if you want to, you can tie up 14-year-olds with zip ties and citizens arrest them?
Can we citizens arrest him?
Technically, probably, but you have to then call the cops straight away.
I could do that.
Well, government might come to a further standstill. I know it stands. We might be going in reverse. Doesn't he have like 11 portfolios? Isn't he minister of 11 different things?
Yeah. Because he's taken over Chris Pink's stuff.
Yeah, and not very, but it's easy for him because you don't have to do much, I guess. He doesn't do much, so 11's going to be quite easy for him, I'd imagine. But yeah, no, it can't be good having a shopkeeper arrest people with cable ties. That's not good. Yeah, it's just another show policy.
I think they'd just like people to have enough money that they don't need to steal in the first place. But
oh yeah,
I don't know, maybe that's a bit too common sensey.
I'll tell you what would stop the need for it is being laser focused on cost of living.
Yeah,
and then people won't need to be arrested. We don't need to arrest 14-year-olds stealing a bag of chips in a dairy.
Yeah. The police were very dead set against it. They came out very strongly saying this was a really bad law. It's actually one of the few holdovers from Sonny Koshal's retail crime unit, which you might recall 80% of everybody in that unit. No, it quit. They got wound down after 80% of the members up and walked away because they couldn't work with Sonny.
Yeah.
The two people that didn't walk away, one was Sonny, and the other is a guy called Ash Palmer, who is the Hamilton East ACT Party candidate.
Oh.
A board of two.
The board of two. Yep. Absolutely.
He got paid some crazy amounts
about crime enforcement.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we talk about events? Going to live in-person events.
Yeah.
That's what I've got in the slides on. Do you want to give us a heads up about what your experience was like in Dunedin, Brie?
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I did get onged, which means that the councillor there that for some reason got voted in, I guess,
Welcome to
deciding.
low turnout and highly engaged conspiracy theory aligned groups. This is local
Yeah.
government for you.
Yeah, and when he walked in, I didn't know who he was, but someone said, "Oh, you know, you might come across our local councillor. Don't ask, don't ask." So everyone knew he might come and that he might be like that, but I didn't know what he looked like or anything. So when he came up to me, I was very much like. But apart from him, I loved it. I loved the environment. I actually think what was really different between the two that we've both attended was that our one was more of like dramatic, more of a theater, like, yeah, no, you know, it was like a pantomime almost, but yours was more of like a kind discussion. What could we be like if we actually all agreed that we do want to change things, we just want to do it differently, you know? And I liked that. So I think it was maybe a different environment in the sense of like less different ideologies. Your one, but yeah, I loved it. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I think because we had that shift, a lot of the crowd that came in was like, well, this is, it's sad we don't get to see the fire, because I think it was Bomber that I was talking to, and he's like, I know Willie's going to do Willie, but not having David Seymour means that Willie can't be as Willie. And you
Yeah,
can't get out there and you can't get the one-liners in, because Willie and Marama would love to have taken David down. Like, they would have made it a bit of a sport, and so the audience gets that. But by the end of it, everybody was sort of walking away going, oh, that was really cool. Like, I actually learned something. I got something out of it. And I know that's what Pat and Chewie were hoping for. I actually caught up with Tommy D was there. He's recently moved up here to Auckland,
Really?
doing some he's doing some amazing work with the Auckland City Mission. So I don't know if
Cool.
Tommy's watching, but shout out to him. He was really cool catching up with him in person.
Cool.
It was one of those things where it's like, oh, I know that face. The thing that throws me at all of these events is people who come up and say hi, and it's always wonderful meeting people, but I don't know them and they know me.
yeah,
And that can be a bit, but like, I love it. Like, it's really cool, but I'm always sitting there going, I don't know what to say now.
yeah. I was thinking the same. I need to have like a word like, hey, love, or like,
Yeah.
hun.
It can be awkward, eh? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is me. Yes.
Yes, I'm me. Yes.
I'm me,
Not
but it's just
my
the real me, not the screen me.
Yes.
Yeah.
The comment I got on, like, I saw the chat, somebody pointed out the chat to me going, Paul's tall. Like, okay. I guess.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when I meet people in person, because you can never see height properly on screen, right?
I suppose anyone watching this on a phone, I'm like that big at the moment. So it's probably the lightest I've been in years. It's great.
How do you guys find these events? Because I've not been to any events since I was probably learning to vote, like 18. But how do you feel? Is the dialogue different in real human events versus online? Because online can be really nasty. Is in person a bit more civil? You just get one iffy person rather than a gang of them sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, some of them show up, and I see Bree. Has Bree frozen?
No, sorry,
that's she's considering the answer.
She's computing.
Yeah. There is. I think it depends. Like for the local event that we have here in Beach Haven, for example, every election, the local Residents Ratepayers Association puts it on. The people who run it are really passionate about the community, but they might not necessarily be the most passionate about politics. So they don't fact check. They just want to make sure that candidates are heard and the audience has a chance to hear it. Every political party brings along their own followers. Actually, I'll show you a clip from Kitty Roa from Friday, must have been Friday. That was the Young Workers Resource Centre. They had an event for the Hamilton West candidates. And one of those candidates in particular, they came with a couple of supporters, and you'll probably hear the supporters in these clips because they really specifically sat next to the camera so they could be heard clapping and cheering. And that's what they told the other candidates. So, and we'll go through this a little bit later about how you create virality with in-person events, because basically it comes down to noise. But if you've got candidates up on stage, they're all going to say the same talking point. their fans are going to make loud noises when they talk and probably boo when other people don't. I think the nuance is actually when you get a chance to talk to the candidates afterwards and have one-on-ones with them, or if somebody actually asks a follow-up question that makes them genuinely think. You can learn quite a bit that way as well. Anyone want to add
Are you
to
going to play a video? I thought you were going to play a video.
Yeah,
You're not playing a video?
Oh. Yeah, I will.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
we would say that over the last few years, like certainly during COVID, the borders were shut and then it was opened and there was talk, and I don't know how much it is, but background checks were not being done correctly, better economy. Unlike these other, we don't believe in communism, like taking money from people that have land. We know it has to come from somewhere. We would sort of rather that we grow the pie, not take it off other people, because that creates unintended consequences, which we don't want.
Is that local government is communism? Because that's how they get their income, through land grabs.
It is, so that's enough.
So local government is communism.
Fashioned view of the treaty, which is that the Māori and the English version are the same. But we stand for one people, one vote. We stand for one person, one vote.
I'm sorry, can we have clarification about who gets more than one vote? You've said multiple times about one person, one vote. Who currently gets more than one vote?
I'm just talking about when we get sort of unelected, unaccountable people, and this also goes for when we've had some globalist sort of influence in our country as well, that has sort of implemented policies that we never voted for, that we were not consulted on.
Sorry,
and
where's that in Parliament?
I'm talking about, well, when they bring in even things with like the Paris Accord, we were not we were not sort of consulted on things like this. A lot of our other sort of treaties and things that we've signed up to have been dictates from.
But that's not more than one vote, so who gets more than
so
one vote?
So what I'm saying is that there's undue influence. When we're sort of talking about one person, one vote, we need to be coming from an informed sort of position, and we get to sort of have a say in that.
But you can't answer the question.
Like, what I'd like people to think is, what is the greatest greenhouse gas? Does anyone know? What's the most powerful greenhouse gas? Water vapour. It's water vapour. Our green here is conflating. When they talk about climate change and extreme weather events, data does not actually support that. For those that still believe in climate change, I think we need to do things more efficiently here, have our own oil and gas.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so this is Nicola Leboire, who is the Hamilton West candidate for New Zealand First. As you can see, she made a few claims there that are somewhat erroneous, and that's not uncommon. A lot of what you'll find at these meetings is people's personalities come through, and there will be some candidates in New Zealand First, for example, that are... Jamie Clyne is actually a really good example of this. He's the former mayor of Bulla. He's running for the West Coast electorate at the moment. And he has this problem that people on the West Coast keep coming up to him at events and saying, fluoride is bad and chemtrails exist and conspiracy. And he doesn't believe that. He wants to be there to help people in government from the area that he was mayor of. And it's frustrating him, but he's a numbnuts who stood with a party that deals with conspiracy theorists. Whereas over in Selwyn, I think it is, one of the candidates that they've got running there, who is a big-time conspiracy theorist, who actually pushed through the anti-fluoride agenda that's now New Zealand First policy. She's getting people showing up going, you told us Three Waters was bad and we need to get rid of it because it meant that the Maori were taking over everything, and now our water rates and our land rates have gone up 30% this year. Go on, tell me what's going on. So they've got really mixed messages, and the audience... you get a chance to pull people up on it at these events.
I've never understood the fluoride debate because, look, I used to be a dental assistant and I can tell if you don't have fluoride in your toothpaste, and you should.
You should,
because it makes a real difference. And don't oil pull either.
What's that? Oil pull?
When you put oil in your mouth and you go...
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. It's really popular because people think it whitens their teeth, but it doesn't. It ruins them.
Oh.
Does it like pull off the enamel?
I don't really know. It's gross.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
I feel like someone was just caught doing that one day and just made up an excuse because that's weird.
Yeah.
Interesting that video. I was kind of like, because the New Zealand First poster behind her didn't show up in the video until halfway
that's just a
through.
blow up in the background.
And through the first part of that video, I'm just thinking, this person would be just such a good fit for New Zealand First, just hearing, some of these cooker opinions. The land taxes are communist things now.
And as Louise pointed out, that's how councils make their money. That's what councils do. And I should point out that Nicola herself is on a council community board in Raglan. She was elected to that position last year. So she is paid through a land tax that she thinks is communism. I also want to point
how does she get away with not drinking water?
I know. It's just weird. Billy Brown in Rotorua, the New Zealand First candidate over there. So people keep messaging me about him all day. He's been making claims that it's Labour's fault that the Marsden Point refinery shut down. You can find that and other fact checks on election2026.co.nz, where that is debunked with evidence to the contrary pointed directly at the reports from the company that owns that particular oil refinery, or owned it, if you want to check that out. So yeah, that was Nicola New Zealand First. I'm really hoping people send me more videos like this, because I want to do a montage of just how crazy this absolutely is.
Where do they get their definitions from? That's where I want to know, because when I started studying, one of the first things I wanted to learn was like the difference between socialism and communism and capitalism and fascism and all those isms. And I'm just like, where did you get that idea that that's what communism is?
That is so important, because I think people get some of them confused with one another. Or think that socialism means communism, for example, is quite a big one. So that is so important. But maybe it's kind of, I was laughing through that video, but it's pretty sad that it's the best people that we can kind of bring to some of these events. Good that she's with New Zealand First, so representing them, but that's worrying that that's the caliber of person that is running. But maybe it will bring people out for entertainment.
And Louise, who was questioning her, nailed it. Like, go you.
Totally.
Thank you for going to that event.
Yeah. Who's got 2 votes?
People
believe this stuff,
Yeah, they do.
100 people will hear that and go, no, that's it. Yeah.
That's true, because they said it. And to be fair, there are times when people have more than one vote. MMP, for a start, we will have 2 votes. But when it comes to the number of times that people are allowed to vote, if you own property in an area you don't live in, you are allowed an extra vote in local body elections. And all 3 of the coalition parties were told about this and know about this. Most of them own property in multiple regions, and chose not to stop it from happening when it came up from, I think it was a paper out of the ballot box that Greg O'Connor had that got pulled. So they had the opportunity, and the government chose really specifically to not stop people from having more than one vote who currently have it.
Yes, right. Landlords don't count. Apparently.
Yeah.
No, we didn't mean them. Yeah.
Yes. Of course not. Can't upset them, because that's who pays for national.
I tell you what, I'd love it if her earlier quote, and probably not many people, or probably many people did pick up on it, but she said taxes, that land tax was bad and everything is bad, communism is bad, because, and I would love to do this in my social media content and my things that I write, because of the unintended consequences, but didn't even say what they were. How easy is that? Just the unintended consequences, of course.
Yeah. Can't do it because of unintended consequences. I can't do the dishes because of unintended consequences.
We could just put that on a billboard. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because of unintended consequences.
Yes.
And don't drink water.
Yeah. Yeah. Unintended consequences. It's all very bad. All very bad. So I've put together some slides for people who might be looking at putting on an event, and some slides for people who are looking at going to an event, particularly around etiquette if you're going to an event, because there are some things that's just rude to do. And there's a lot of things that people are really excited to do, like go and boo David Seymour, which I totally get, but some monsters feed off the attention. So we're going to have a look at that. We're going to go through the challenge of actually putting on an event, because I also get a few people who are like, I want to do something like this for my community. I want to introduce them to candidates. So generally speaking, you need a minimum of a 4-week turnaround, especially at the moment, because the candidates are all busy. They're all zipping all over the place, and trying to get them to tie down to a particular meeting needs a bit of runtime. So I'll bring that one up on stage. All right, so this is the challenge. How do you balance democratic open debate with a duty of care to prevent public forums from becoming, terrible spelling, becoming megaphones for harmful noise? Does anybody want to jump in here and give me some suggestions on what they think? How you would go about it? If you were
I think
challenged like this?
what was good about the BHN one is that everyone's mic'd up differently. So when it comes to actually broadcasting it to the wider audience, we can kind of control that to an extent of like how loud the heckles and things sound. But I do think and obviously you can cut things if you don't want them shown if a candidate says something inappropriate. But I think it's almost important to platform people that might have a differing opinion, because especially if there's people in there from the opposing view that will counteract it, because we need to know what the thoughts of people in our society are, and they need to see how people react to that. That's healthy and important. So I think, fighting back against the harmful noise when it happens in person is important for the hosts, but also like to an extent you have to kind of allow it, because who defines harmful? Yeah, I don't know. Hard question. This should be our sticky question.
So I got answers, so it doesn't have to be too sticky this time around. Yeah, there are, I promise. This one is, it's like studying for a test that's in front of you. The book is open on this one.
Was I wrong or right?
All right. So let's have a chat about audience etiquette. For those of you that are thinking of going to these meetings, and you'll find them pop up in all sorts of places. You get meetings organized around specific groups, like the one that we saw just before. That's a video from the Young Workers Resource Centre in Kirikiriroa, who are there to help young people get into work. I think it's tied into one of the local unions as well. I think it's the PSA. So it's there as sort of a work experience thing. Most of the university student associations have put on events recently. In, I think it was Waikato, Parmjeet Palmer got booed out of the building. And in Auckland, Simon Court had what he called a robust response to his comments that he made. So if you're a university student, for example, your local union might be putting something on that you can go to, and local community groups as well. I know Residents Ratepayer Association groups tend to put them on. You might find meetings at local marae, whole bunch of places. Have you guys come across anywhere that's sort of unique for meetings?
Not yet. We've got lots of options in Wellington, so yeah, we don't have too many unique places, just unique people.
That's what makes Wellington awesome.
That's right.
The people, and the fact that sometimes politicians take holidays and don't be there.
Yeah,
and then they get sent back for a day.
That seems to be a common theme I'm hearing, is like different groups of, like, for example, science groups or like education groups trying to meet with the ministers and them just completely saying they're too busy. And it's an election year. You should be willing to front up and show what you've done over the past 3 years. Like, it's interesting.
So one of the things that people don't often do, but they probably should, especially with this government, is ask the organisers, even if it's not just in an online chat when they announce the presentation in your local community page, whether or not there's going to be live fact-checking happening. We have Google. LLMs, as frustrating as they can be at times, can actually be really helpful for this as well if you want to do live fact-checking, or take a checklist of the most common lies that you hear from parties, because at the moment they're all talking in sound bites. So make sure that there's fact checking, and if there's not, be prepared so that you can debunk anything that might need to be debunked if people are sort of whispering in the background. And you can find out whether or not it's live streamed, and if that's the case, it might be more effective to stay at home in the chats and go, fact check, this is actually incorrect that this person has said. So it's just about making sure you know. We've got a Crunchy in the audience. Oh well, let him sit there and crunch.
We'll go on Paul's page because he does regular fact checks and they're good.
Yeah, it's fun to sit here and make things sound depressing. Right. Remember as well as an audience member that the audience is going to be stacked. We are specifically going to get crowds in that are supporting each of the party. And to be fair, I totally get it as well. It makes them look popular. And it must be really kind of demoralizing to sit up there on stage from any party and just hear crickets when you talk. So it's a nice way of breaking up the silence. It is, I've certainly seen in the past people storm out of events because the supporters will be clapping and cheering a really horrible policy. I saw it happen here last year. We had somebody storm out when, I think it was New Zealand First, was talking about their, it was something horribly anti-trans and anti-turfy, and it upset a couple of people in the audience. And I know that there were people who up and left because of the messaging around that, because it was also tied into things like access to medication and how, you know, putting back on the surcharge for pharmaceuticals makes it harder for people to access, and that puts people at risk. So expect it to be stacked in the audience. With the one that you were at in Dunedin, Bree, was that the case? Were there supporters there for each of the parties?
There was definitely a little group that came in for New Zealand First. I wasn't sure if there were many ACT supporters. Potentially, but no, I would say mainly left-leaning people, but that makes sense with our audiences and that kind of thing. But they definitely did have a little Casey Costello hype group, which was good. Like, it's important, you know? So,
Yeah. We had, I know the Greens and Labour were really well presented last night. And I know we had Steve Abel and Lawrence Yunnan in the audience as
Yeah, I love
MPs, and Kira Leone from Labour, who's running for Labour, was in the audience.
yeah.
And we had somebody from Young ACT in the audience, by the sounds of it. So, you know, there was certainly a crossover there, but I think because we didn't have the debate, it was a lot more subdued. People weren't there to be, oh, our party is the best. They were there to actually listen.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that. Rachel Brooke came to our one as well. I like when MPs come and don't expect to necessarily be the ones on stage, but they just want to hear what's going on. I'm like, wow. You take
Oh, yes, Michael Mulipolo was there as well. Mikhail, didn't bring his flags.
Oh.
Mikhail's flags are awesome. So yeah, it's something just to be prepared for. Know that it is going to be stacked. So you want to try and filter the noise as much as possible. Right. What's our next slide? Oh yeah, please let the moderator do their job. Bad faith speakers rely on a hostile crowd to play the victim. So let the moderator be the one to tell people to sit down and shut up, or to tell a speaker to sit down and shut up because they're getting people worked up. If you have too many chefs in the kitchen, you end up with a ruined souffle, and that's exactly what happens here. So let the moderator do their job. Jackson, have you come across people who've got like a natural flair for moderating events like this?
Yes, I do. I wouldn't remember them by name. Typically tends to be like reporters that are pretty good at moderating events, and journalists and things, because they know how people can get, and they can kind of mold into or segue into different things and cut people off in a really respectful way. Yeah, you do need to let a moderator do their job, and I mean, sometimes a moderator's job is just to let people say things that are really, you don't want people to say hurtful things, but sometimes someone being allowed to say something could be really good, you know, like that someone that you don't like, that you don't want to see work in the beehive, the one thing that you don't drown out them saying might be recorded and might end up being seen by the rest of the country. But if you drown it out, then you kind of ruin all chances of something being heard by everyone else, even if you don't like it. But yeah, I tend to see a lot of media people tend to be good moderators, but maybe I haven't seen anyone else. I guess, you know, a grumpy auntie or a strict auntie would be a good one too, you know?
I reckon
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Comedians are good at moderating stuff, because like what I've been surprised about in politics is how many comedians follow me. I'm like, whoa, you guys are real political, but it's because they look at hard things and then they make it digestible, like kind of what we do to an extent. So I think they could be a good moderator for these kinds of events, because especially if something gets a bit heated, they can crack the ice with a joke, you know?
Yeah, I think they are quite political, right? They have to, like, because most of their content is based on political things and news style comedy events, right? Yeah, such a good point.
I reckon we need more comedians in the politics space. I think that's why 7 days is good.
Mm.
We don't have satire here on mainstream TV when it comes to the news.
Mm.
It's something that we are really missing.
Yeah.
I've got a suggestion here for a really good moderator from Banksy. Pat was an
The
excellent moderator. And I have no... Todd Stevenson and Casey Costello thought exactly the same thing. So it's definitely not a bad thing.
And Paul, of
Definitely
course.
not. Yeah.
And Brie.
All right, more audience stuff. Recognize the bullshit spreading tools. So this is just a few things to keep an eye out for, and I know you've alluded to a couple of them already tonight, Jackson. It's stuff to be really wary of in terms of people that are talking and what it is that they are saying and how you can make sure your bullshit detector is working. So emotional language is a really big one. Trying to play on people's emotions over facts. Something to watch out for. Have you guys come across gish galloping before?
No.
Okay, so if I ask you a simple question like, what did you have for dinner? I'm guessing the answer is something that should hopefully come to mind relatively easy, but you would give me 4 or 5 verbal paragraphs on exactly what it was and completely change the topic and go all over the place and make some false claims in there. It's basically verbal diarrhea in response to an answer that you've been given or a question you've been given. And the problem is you suddenly get so overloaded with disinformation that it's really hard to go, well, shit, what was the point? How do I correct that? There's like 7 things that you've said that's incorrect. So what do I focus on? It's pushing something called Brandolini's law, which is it takes 10 times the effort to debunk something than it does to actually make some bullshit up. So gish galloping is something to watch out for. It's one of the reasons why you got to be really careful with how you time people at these events. Decontextualized data is another one. And Nicola was actually a really good example of that when she was there's actually stuff that I cut out there where she was talking about research that was done that showed that there were storms back in the 1800s that were as wet as Cyclone Bowler. And it's okay, yeah, but the data is decontextualized. You know, there's no information around climate change, for example, or the amount of carbon in the air or the heated oceans or anything like that. Like, there's no context other than here is a piece of data for you to know that makes me sound right. So something to keep an eye out for. And vague attributions. The Paris Accords mean that some people somewhere have more than one vote. Like, really vague.
Right.
Anyone have any feedback on what sort of MPs might use these kind of tools?
Nicola, all the time. Yeah, it's been the bane of this term, right? It's like that's the worst part of this term in the political messaging is this stuff, the data, the bending data, and saying, you know, we're cutting back on wasteful spending. But no, what that translates to is we're cutting back on spending things that we don't want to spend things on, and we're actually spending more money, and we're cutting back borrowing. Maybe in 3 years we might start that. You know, it's
they'll change the measurements before then.
Yeah, it's just it's rampant. Yeah, it brings out the worst in me in my content too. I think, you know, like lowering inflation, lowering mortgage rates is a fight that I've been in for like 3 years. We see so much.
I'm going to show you this comment actually then that might piss you off even just a little bit more. This one is from Edelweiss. Nicola Willis's electorate office is just down the road from me. No one has even been there for 24 months.
Yeah, I live down the road from Nicola Willis's. It looks like the most empty shop around, and that's saying something because most of the businesses around her electorate office have closed down over the last few years, which is sad for those businesses, but a sign of the leadership, I guess. But I've never seen anyone in there, and I drive past it 3 times a day.
Maybe that's why she's not running for an electorate this year, is she? She's list only. That makes sense. Getting some great suggestions as well for other MPs that do things like this. Seymour Willis comes up on the list. David Seymour here from Kiwibird.
Luxon does it.
Shane Jones. Yeah, there's quite
lots
a
of
few
data.
that do it.
Lots of data ones, right? Especially, you know, you would know, Brie, with the education testing of Tamariki and stuff. You know, the performance and the so-called improvements with children, they're kind of made up bent models of data, and sometimes they're comparing one group of kids against another group of kids, and yeah, it's all over the place. But crime data too is a good example of bending data or changing the goalposts of how you count it.
It's gotten to the point where I can literally, like, on the spot, just say what I think Erica would say at a conference if she had to. Like, she would be like, look, we've made massive strides with Māori achievement, because if you look at kaupapa Māori achievement, we've been fixing the basics. And when you look at the phonics checks that we've done, you can see massive improvements, because NCA was failing people. But now with these improvements in vocational focus, we can change the outcomes for our children. Like, it's just
You're going to
a
get casted now.
It's creepy.
Like,
You're
it's
too
just
good at that.
It's a load of waffle. You didn't say anything.
Yeah, it is waffle, isn't it? It's a bit like that clip earlier of it causes unintended consequences. It's like NCEA,
Yeah.
we're getting rid of it because it causes unintended consequences.
All right. So next one I've got up on my list here, audience etiquette. If you're asking questions, because they often have question sections at these things, focus on specifics. You would have come across this as well, Brie, when you were going through the questions. People have so much that they want to get across, so much that they want to have answered, that sometimes, I don't know if you did it, but I know last night I suggested to a couple of people that if they get the chance to ask, they just summarize it a lot more, because they've got detail they want responses to. But if you give too much detail, it's really hard to answer and to respond to. I don't know if you did that, but it was what I was like, great question, but 3 paragraphs is a bit on the long side. Avoiding speeches is in the same sort of vein as that. You want to keep it concise and targeted, and try to keep it non-partisan. I noticed a few of the questions that we got online we were like really specifically, I want you to ask this person this question. And I get it. Like, I absolutely get it. I know there were people there who are like, I wanted to ask David a really hard question, but he didn't show up. But if you keep it non-partisan, then you can get comparisons for all of the people that have shown up to give you answers. And you might not like all of their answers, but at least you're giving them all a chance to put their perspective across it, which you alluded to before, Jackson. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you're like, okay, just that question's a bit long. Let's just wind it up.
Way too often.
At the fielding meeting with Luxon and Suze and Goldsmith, actually it was quite a few of them, this woman stood up, and it was a very serious, I believed her. She was saying, I'd been trafficked. I have had really awful experience with the system. What are you going to do for people like me? That's kind of what her question was. But because she was talking about her personal experience, they ended up escorting her out, because it was just a bit, she was kind of going on and on about it and for too long. And I just think, like, if she'd framed it as like, if in this situation, what are you going to do to better that? It would have probably been fine and answered. But in those environments, your personal story is probably better left for like a personal meeting in their office or something like that, just because it is an environment for everyone. So if you can make it relatable to everyone, that's really helpful and can like limit those awkward interactions. Even though that was valid, what she had to say was valid, it just maybe not for that environment,
Yeah. Sometimes things can get, I mean, even outside of these environments, people talk for too long, really. I think naturally, I mean, people were only in these situations a few times in their lives, because we don't often have elections. It's every 3 years. And you won't go to an event like this that often. So we want to be respectful too, as New Zealanders. We're so friendly, and sometimes you can end up waffling and talking about yourself and who you are and wanting to draw connections with everyone in the room. That's what we're like. We're known for that around the world, but you do have to just go straight up the guts with a really simple question that maybe even a 10-year-old could comprehend and understand quite quickly. You want to go straight up the guts and make sure that isn't directed at one specific person or one specific problem. Well, you want to be specific to the problem, sorry, but you want it to be bipartisan or partisan, you want everyone to be able to answer it rather than targeting people. But yeah, the waffle's not good in that situation. Otherwise, you'll be met with 10 times more waffle back. If you wanted a direct answer, you won't get it back by opening with waffle.
Yeah.
And they also
And some
like
politicians.
sorry.
That's all right. Go.
I was just gonna say, like, when you are really like honest about it, like, would you commit to a living wage for this sector, and let them try to answer that? They'll waffle into their own ideologies, and it says a lot. I think one lady at ours stood up and said, will you commit to a living wage, and kept it real simple, and it showed a lot in their answers. Yeah. Because they have to justify the answer, you know?
Yeah. They know how to justify it to their audience, and that gives you a chance to learn a little bit about who they think their audience is.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So, and then booing. This is a big one. I mean, you can. Have you ever been like there was booing in Dunedin, a little bit. Have you ever been to an event with booing like this, Jackson?
No, I've seen lots of recordings online. It is pretty funny. I encourage you not to do it, but it is hilarious, and depending on who it is. I mean, it's not new, right? Like Luxon was booed at a netball game quite early on in his term. So
I believe every sports event he's been to, he's been booed.
Really? Yeah. So that's saying something, isn't it? Come on, guys, read the room. But no, I really haven't been anywhere where someone has been booed yet. But if I go to a debate, probably, and I will this election, I may see it. It's awkward though, isn't it? It
is. But I understand why people get so emotionally, like, these are people who are making decisions that impact every aspect of our life. If somebody gets up there and says, we don't agree with what you're saying and you suck, we don't want to listen to you, sometimes that comes out in a boo. And I am kind of tempted to encourage people to boo David Seymour in particular, just after his pulling out of the BHN stuff, because I think that would be funny.
Yeah, I think to be fair to people with their booing, it's not from what I've seen online, because I haven't been anywhere where people have booed, but particularly with politicians, it tends to be in reaction to something that they have done. It's not an idea that they have for the future, but, treaty principles bill, or, they're getting booed because of something that they have done. It's not some new cool idea that they've got. I don't think we tend to boo for things like that. But that tends to be the booing, as if there's something that they have done recently or they're talking about, then that tends to draw booing, I find.
I think that's a good rule of thumb. Like, I think booing when they're saying something that they've done that you disagree with, because you do want to get your point across, like if you disagreed with that.
Yeah.
And like cheering when there's something that you think is great. Like, I don't know, I did pantomimes a couple of years ago where I was like a princess or the baddie, and so I got booed at all the time, so I'm used to a little bit of booing. But I don't know, I do think there is, you don't boo because you're like Lux and you suck. Boo because he did something that you didn't like. That's good rule.
And you're right, there is no other way, because you would clap if someone said something good. Right?
And booing's better than going, you jerk face.
That's true. So some data I actually came across on the research for this: 90% of viral clips from your town halls, your candidate events, stuff like that, include angst-driven booing, because the algorithms pick it up as drama, so it helps to push them. So if you want to go viral, go and boo an MP, but generally speaking, you need a few people to do it with you. But other than that, it's actually it is kind of rude in the wrong circumstances to drown out somebody who is there trying to do a sales pitch to encourage people to get them to vote for them. But at the same time, there are some MPs that maybe you don't want to let them try and get the sales pitch. But Kiwi Burb, I think, has the best line for this one: a boo needs comedy attached to it. So that's if you're in the audience. If you're running an event, there's a few things as well that people should be really aware of. So this is sort of the flip side of that. Vetting and rules: let the audience know at the opening about participation rules. And if you're doing it, like you're telling people about it online, make sure you publish these rules in advance. And that might be, how audience questions are going to be held, or not clapping forever so that, you drown out the next speaker because you really like the one beforehand and stuff like that. There will be really specific rules in place around exits of the building and bathroom use and stuff like that as well. So that kind of stuff will need to be in there. It's just about making sure everybody is aware in advance what the rules are, because then everybody can say, no one can turn around afterwards and go, well, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to throw confetti at the people I really like and rotten fruit at the people I didn't, which I wish more people could actually do. Like, it would be fun to watch, but not particularly good to clean up.
We should vote that way. That's a great way to vote.
Buy tomato, rotten tomato.
Buy Marmite sandwiches and throw them at Luxon.
I was so offended when he said that because I hate Marmite. It's like, I wouldn't torture.
No.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like the smell of Marmite just makes me gag. It's for some reason I just don't like the taste of it. My brother loves it, and when we were very, very young, he would eat it all the time, and he's one of these people that would pour it onto his bread and his toast, and so like it stunk the place out. That's all I could smell. And so I was 7 or 8 at the time. I told him really specifically that the reason it's so black and sticky is because it's just made up of crushed spiders. And he just went straight off it and we didn't have to buy it for ages, and I didn't have to put up with the smell. Yeah, I was not a nice big brother. I'm much nicer now.
Do you like another Vegemite, or you just
no,
hate all mites?
No, all of them to me just I can't even explain what it is that I don't like about them. It's just I have this visceral reaction to them that make me feel sick.
Do you like bread?
Yeah, I like bread and like peanut butter, honey, jam, marmalade, all of that kind of stuff. Absolutely fine. But yeah, Marmite, Vegemite, I've never.
I think you had too much. You probably had too much.
Maybe.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't be perfect all the time. I'm sorry.
That's right. We thought you were. That was all. Yeah, we were just quite shocked by that.
Disappointed. That's all.
Never meet your heroes. Now I've got people going, I feel like making a Marmite sandwich. And I saw a comment here before. I'll see if I can dig it. Big Olby, cancelling my citizenship. Okay.
What have you done?
What have I done? I'm sorry.
Your follower count is dropping.
This is what's going to go viral from this. Is everybody going,
what
oh my
is
God. Yeah. All right, event structure. So if you are running an event, these are just some tips on how to make sure it runs relatively smoothly. One of the things we noticed last night, because we had a 2-hour run time, 5 people on stage. 5 people on stage with a 2-minute answer is 10 minutes already. So you have to be really narrow and specific with your prompts and how you're going to deal with the crowds and deal with the people who are answering the questions. No open mics. Like do not open the floor to anybody who wants to get up and have a say, because that will take forever, and you will never get through it all, and it'll just be a nightmare. You also want really strict time limits for the people that are talking, because if you don't wind them in and keep them within that space, again, it just runs forever. And if possible, have 2 moderators at least, one who is sitting there with the time and going, ringing a little bell, or I saw one the other day that was like ducks, like rubber chickens, and they'd squeeze the chicken at the time once, like there's your 30-second warning, and then twice that was your time up. It's just so ridiculous that people can't help but stop. But I think that's a brilliant way of doing it. But have somebody there who's measuring time, and have somebody there who's fact checking if you can. Have you guys ever have you come across people with time limits on their speaking, and how the best way to do that?
Yeah, I've been to a few events. I think the best one that I've seen, because there's usually people fail. Usually events always go over. The best event that I went to, I saw the host bouncing a ball when it was time up, started bouncing like a basketball. That's very distracting, because it's both visual and it's loud and it's obnoxious. But they announced it before the event started. So it's not rude, but it's a good one, because it captures all the senses, and it's a little bit funny. It's not as rude as saying "shut up," or a horn. A horn would be good, actually.
A horn would be good,
like a car horn.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Bree?
I think like standing at the back, like having someone like kind of out of sight that can look at the host and be like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
hurry up, is good.
Yeah.
If you don't have like a screen, I think the first venue we were at, we didn't use it, but there was a screen that was up on the wall because it was a church. And so like if you have a timer, that can be handy to have there where no one else can see it. But yeah.
Sasha's actually said the same thing. Big events, digital countdown screens at the front of the stage. Yeah, and Sasha asked one of the best questions that we saw last night, I think. I was very impressed with that question. So thank you very much for that one. I love the idea of just something funny because it's unexpected. But most places are just like a bell. It's like ding, and that's fine. I did get to a point once where I was moderating one in, I think it was in Hamilton, and there was one candidate in particular who, he's a strange one. He wanted to introduce tariffs to the city. He wanted to move Hamilton Airport into the middle of the Claudelands Arena. He had some interesting ideas, and he just wouldn't stop. So it got to the point where I would physically turn his microphone off and just go, no, sit down, shut up, because nothing else would work. He wouldn't listen to the bell or anything like that. So
a tariff for Hamilton.
I know.
Yeah. That's so niche. That's cool.
Yeah. He's he is certainly an interesting one. He was one of these people who thought it was amazing that there was a statue of Governor George Grey being put up in the middle of the city. He's special, is that particular person, and he runs at all of the events. He actually messaged me last year, going, just so you know, our crazy conspiracy theory counselor that we've got, Andrew Bidder, I thought he was insane. That's saying something. Right, so if you are hosting an event and you have a candidate who is not particularly good at the truth, this is a method for correcting them if you want to do a course correction or way of fixing that. It's just called the truth sandwich fallacy strategy. It's basically state the fact. So their claim might be something like the sky is green. State the fact, the sky is blue. I know you think it's green, or I know you're telling people it's green, but if you look outside, the sky is blue. This is a really simple way of reiterating reality for some people, because for some people, reality is a tough thing to come across and to digest. But it's also really good for the audience to see that they're basically not being yelled at for being wrong. They're being corrected in a gentle way that takes them on a journey that doesn't vilify people. Have you guys ever come across this kind of usage of how to correct people who are incorrect? Or have you ever used it in any of your content?
Pat definitely did that at our debate. He would be like, okay, yeah, well, you didn't do anything for Dunedin Hospital. So I know that you're saying that you did, but neither of you did. So what are you going to do next time? Like that, it was good. Wow, that's what I was doing.
I feel like Jack Tame does this a lot on the Q&A show. This tactic, right? Like something that someone says the fact and then follows that rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's very effective.
Yeah. I just wish sometimes the MPs were there when he did that. Like when he had Simeon last week and he was talking about the full-time equivalent nursing numbers. And afterwards, here is a fact check. And it's like, I wish they'd done that while he was there.
Yeah.
It would have been so fun to see him get off his booster seat and be all upset.
Was he? I think he was trying, wasn't he? But
yeah,
it was a bit all over the place, wasn't it? Maybe he was trying to get there.
He was hard enough to get what he was even saying.
54,
like,
shocking. 54?
I have my talking points and I don't really know what you mean.
Yeah, but he's in charge of their campaign. He's their campaign manager.
You can tell.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
It was very Trumpian, yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
he wrote those billboards, I know it.
I've loved his man.
It feels like it. It really does. I also saw a message come through from... Actually, I don't know if I can say who it was, but it was a known media personality who has tried for years to get Christopher Luxon to sit down with them, saying they've had word from the Prime Minister's office that he is again refusing to do so this year. He's not done it for Q&A. He doesn't do it for Mihi, for Moana. He doesn't do it for pretty much anyone other than Dom Harvey. That's
which
pretty
is
weird.
edited, isn't it? Like, massively. The podcast, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just not good for him, right? Like, I've been thinking it's annoying as hell that he's not been doing all these media interviews, but when those debates happen, it's going to really show, because
So
even
this is the other
recently,
thing that I don't know if people are aware of. It looks like there's only going to be one televised debate.
Oh.
I think it showed up in Media Watch or something like that.
really,
Basically, there's 3 pitches that have been sent to the Prime Minister's office, and he's decided he's going to pick one. His options are, I believe it's One News was going to put one on, fronted by Jack Tame. Radio New Zealand was looking at putting one on, and I think that was supposed to be fronted, I want to say John Campbell. And TV3 and the Herald were looking. Oh no, it was Stuff. Sorry, Stuff was the third one. But TV3 and the Herald were looking at an option as well with Ryan Bridge. And I suspect if he's going to pick one, he's going to pick Ryan Bridge.
So he's only picking one of all
Apparently.
of those.
That's what was
shocking,
reported in, I think it was in the Herald, in Media Watch.
Does he realize that if, like, the more he does, the more content there is for him? So if he only does one event and he says stupid crap, the media is going to only have that.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you have more opportunities to speak, you can be like, yeah, I might have said that there, but I said this here. Like, okay, just count yourself short then. Great strategy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to that, at least.
Yeah.
But it won't serve him well, skipping all these things, and he'll realise that quite quickly. I think I saw something.
I hope he doesn't realise until
terrible.
November 8. Personally, but yeah,
I think he knows. He knows. He always seems to know better. So, yeah.
He was a CEO. They know
he's
everything.
got the full support of everyone, so he'll be fine.
Yes.
He's got the full support of everyone not to go on any debates or with any media or any interviews. Full support.
They clearly back him up. And I mean, credit where it's due. As awful as they did, Simeon Brown's been on there. Chris Bishop's been on there multiple times. Erica Stanford, Paul Goldsmith today. They at least fronted up to Jack Tame. And it doesn't matter if you're left or right. You know Jack's going to come with the receipts and he's going to push hard. And I think it was Liam here. I saw a tweet out today going, he finds it really weird that the right are like, why is Jack Tame so mean to people on the right, and then laugh about when he's mean to people on the left? And really, it's a balance thing. He's doing the same, treating them the same, no matter which way they come from. Yeah, it is. It's fascinating stuff. But not forgetting Luxon also ran away from Tova. Tova was big and skinny.
That's right.
So he's like, I'm not going to do that. So, right, let's see what else we got on next. So many buttons here. All right, so conspiracy pivot. So as we saw before, we're obviously going to get a few conspiracy theorists in the election this year, which is not a surprise. New Zealand First has been courting them for 4 or 5 years now. So one of the things that this actually came from, I think it was Paparoa, which are they do a bunch of research into anti-fascist work around the country. They were the ones that found out about the neo-Nazi in the New Zealand First youth wing that spoke at their conference. This is their suggestion, is that if a claim is unverified, make sure the audience knows it's unverified. And just really simple, you're not shaming somebody for saying it, you're just making sure the audience has the right information in front of them, and they can go and find that information wherever it is. So just tell them the claim is unverified. Let's return to the question at hand. Have you guys come across a lot of conspiracy theories out there at the moment in the lead up to this election?
I haven't seen too many. A lot from New Zealand First kind of esque people, as one would expect. I kind of wind people up on social media and say that I'm involved in a conspiracy theory, because people often say, "Who are you paid for? Who's funding you to say these things?" Yeah. So I probably don't help with the case myself. Yeah, I said I was, sitting here by the 5G towers and whatnot, but yeah, not as many as after COVID. I wouldn't think. I haven't noticed personally, but maybe that's just my own echo chamber. that I'm not noticing them.
I get called a conspiracy theorist. And so then I have to do follow-up posts being like, well, here's where I found out what I'm saying. But if I put that in the initial post, you won't read it because you'll think it's boring, full of sources.
Yeah.
So I have to do it in a two-part system. But yeah, it's interesting. I grew up with, I would say like one half of my family not very conspiracy minded and the other half like quite open to susceptibility, you know. And so like I get offended when I'm called one because I'm like, I know what real conspiracy theorists are like, and it's not me.
Sometimes it's probably just laziness from people, you know, can't be bothered saying why you're wrong because they know you're right and just call you a conspiracy theorist, you know, because they can't be bothered. Yeah, interesting.
The only person that I feel like is actually spinning conspiracies is the government trying to be like, no, we're not doing a coup.
Full support.
We all just believe in Luxon. That's
Labour closed Marsden Point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big conspiracy at the moment. We have the full support of the caucus.
Yes.
Maybe there's just so many made up things and so many lies. So much spin that you don't spot the conspiracies anymore, you know. So just with all the, you know, all the yarns that are going around, it's quite probable that, you know, they're making it feel like conspiracy theories are not conspiracy theories anymore. They're just theories.
Yeah. Well, that's why you need good fact checking, and you can do that live these days. That's why it's good to have two moderators. Right, next one, personal attacks, and this is something that's not uncommon as well when you've got such passionate people when it comes to the topics that you're dealing with. So one of the things, if you're moderating an event like this, is just pointing out when this happens, that personal attacks violate the agreed terms for people to be there. So either they need to address the topic of the question or leave. And that often makes them sit down, shut up and go, oh, well, you know, I don't want to walk away from the audience sometimes. I mean, have you guys ever been somewhere where a politician has done that sort of personal attack on someone else?
Politician?
Other than in Parliament? Well, you know,
I've seen Winston
on the tile.
Peters. Yeah, I've seen Winston Peters at events and stuff. But that's no surprise to anyone, is it? That's kind of his whole personality and trademark is to do things like that. He survives off it. So, yeah. I can't say I've heard anyone else attack, but yeah, Winston still continuously does it. He did it at the Iwi Cheers Forum just last week, said some absolutely horrible things that I won't say.
That's the problem. He says stuff that's so bad you can't repeat it.
But if you bring it up, you're the one attacking him.
Yeah.
He's a snowflake.
Somebody actually came up to me last night and said their big dream for like a viral trend to happen now is people making just really simple videos across all platforms going, hey, Winston, are you vaccinated? Just because that's what triggered him with Lawrence. And I'm down for that. I would love to see people do that. If people want to make video content like that and tag me in it, I'm happy to share it because I think that would be hilarious. But that is a personal attack as far as Winston's concerned, asking very deep and meaningful questions like that.
Or asking if we should have a retirement age, you know.
Yeah.
Or asking what he's achieved in 40 years, you know. And you know, they're all kind of fair. They're not mean. Are fair questions, but he does explode over them, doesn't he? But
he does. And, he's been there longer than I've been alive, and that's a scary thought because I'm not young. Like it's
got no life experience, the old man. He's done one job for 50 years.
We need people with real world experience.
Yes, we do. We need people. He's just a career politician.
He still complains about career politicians.
You are one.
He's the definition of it. Yeah. Here I am saying don't do personal attack.
He's been there so long and he complains about everything that's happened in his time for being there so long. It's just peak irony, isn't it?
Has he ever studied?
He's actually technically a lawyer.
And a teacher.
Right? He is a lawyer. I don't know if he's still in the bar, like if he's recently like admitted
Is he
to
a
the
lawyer
bar,
like
but
Kardashian's a lawyer, or is he?
no, I think he was actually technically like he was a practicing lawyer, and I think it was Tauranga for a while, or maybe Northland. But yeah, he is qualified as a lawyer, and now he's written most of the laws that we have in some way, because he has been in power in government more than any other politician, I think, in our history. It's a scary thought. So when he complains about the status quo, he is the status quo. And at least 2 of his policies that he's announced this year, he was actually involved in them directly when they first came. The buyback of BNZ, he was treasurer when the government sold BNZ. And breaking up the gentailers, he was treasurer. And New Zealand First, I think, voted specifically to also break up the electricity market when they did, which has led us to where we are now. And now he's complaining that National did that, and we need to break them up even further to fix the problem. Winston for you.
Maybe he's having a clean up. I mean, he knows what can go wrong because he was usually around when it did.
Yeah. Yes. I heard a story last night about him doing a media interview actually, and like interview was done and dusted, and they were doing the pack down, and he was determined to make sure that the camera was turned off, so that he didn't get caught smoking on camera in his office, which he shouldn't have been doing. Very Winston. Right, so if you are running one of these events as well and you have a candidate who gish gallops, kind of like what we just did, you just point out that you've raised multiple points to them, that they've raised multiple points, and then isolate the first statement and review the facts. So it's basically I keep them on target, make sure that they are going in the right direction. And yeah, that should make sense. I think we kind of covered this before when we were talking about gish gallops, and yeah, keep people on target.
That's good. I need a personal gish galloper to come around with me just in life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like the price of pie, so talk to our lady here who'll keep you busy for an hour.
You said all the stuff, but you just haven't done the laundry.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So many things to talk about.
Another one that you might come across is a refusal to answer. And for that one, you're never going to force it out of them. So just make sure for the record, especially if you're streaming something or you've got people who are recording it, that you are very, very specific to point out that the candidate has declined to answer. And there might be a number of reasons for it. They might be, pleading the fifth because they genuinely don't want to get in trouble, or it might be something that they can't talk about if it's like a national security thing, for example. But generally speaking, if you ask them a question they can't answer or refuse to answer, just make sure it's on the record. Have you guys ever been to an event where somebody isn't able to answer a question for a security reason?
I watched Erica Stanford refuse to answer whether or not she was involved in a coup.
Oh, you just have to wait a couple of days.
Tune in next week to hear me fully support. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to a birthday party once with my mother-in-law who works in the public service, and she was working in the SIS at the time, and her boss came along. We had to get top-level security clearance to go to the birthday party because he was going to the birthday party. And when you talk to him about what he did for work, it was literally, I can't tell you. And it's so weird. It's like, I work for the government. Oh, what field are you in? Security and defense. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds exciting. Well, what are you, Navy and stuff? I can't say. Okay, short conversations.
I know someone who worked for the UN, and they were just, I was like, what do you do? Oh,
Can't
tech
say.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sounds like you're really smart and stuff.
Yeah, I can't tell. I mean, it's a great line. Why didn't you do the dishes? I can't say.
Unintended consequences.
National security, unintended consequences. And here is a 6-hour diatribe on other things that you should be asking me about other than the dishes.
Yeah, I looked at the data.
Luxon always goes, look, what I just say to you is what the real question should be is, and then makes up his own question.
I'm actually laser focused on vacuuming tomorrow.
Yes. And we should put a gondola in the wash house.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
The
god.
gondola.
It'll be
The
fun.
gondola.
It is always
It's much
awkward though,
easier
isn't
to
it?
build another gondola or to support a gondola than it is to fly your helicopter up to get Pavlova with the Australian Prime Minister.
It's a bit more digestible, yeah. Yeah, the refusal's weird, isn't it? I can't say I've heard a politician say it, but when you meet someone who can't say something, it's so
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
I would sooner just make something up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do for work?
Although,
I just I'd kind
Accountant.
of
Winston,
yeah,
are
I
you
count paper.
vaccinated?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a refusal right there. Winston, are you vaccinated? He refuses to answer and he changes the topic.
Because he'll lose his voters.
So anybody going to meet the candidate events with Winston should ask that question
Yeah.
and just take really good protection with you because you'll be shot otherwise by his fans that are in the audience. All right.
But say
Next
if
slide.
you want to, you could frame it like, "Are you vaccinated?" Like pretend you're like against it, like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's a good tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
This must be on the next
so-
slide, that tactic.
So viral clickbait. This is the kind of thing that a lot of people want, and they go to these events hoping to get it. And the way that it tends to happen is with unmoderated open mic questions, because people will frame it as a gotcha, because they can cut footage any way they want. They can do however they want in terms of music, audio, things like that. They can frame it any way they like. And the research out there shows that for viral videos from these kind of events, it's basically an unmoderated question that someone was dumb enough to let people get away with. So if you're running an event, if you want to risk having your event go viral for all the wrong reasons, have an open mic. If you want to avoid it, make sure that you don't have an open mic there and make sure everything is moderated in advance. Sound bites are basically the sales pitch for it.
Yeah, as much as I like viral content and digesting it, you do want to make sure that everyone's informed on who to vote for and who not to vote for. So
yeah,
you'd wonder your intent if the intent is actually to get viral clips, right?
Yeah, and there are certainly people out there who are really good at focusing on getting the virality without the accuracy. We saw it a couple of weeks ago with the Free Speech Union and their good faith yarns that Annie O'Brien was running when they got to Auckland. Because what they did was a whole bunch of people were like, hey, we think this particular venue isn't the right match for this particular talk, because it was being held in a place called the Ellen Melville Centre, which is a really proudly rainbow supportive community space in the middle of the central city. And they felt having an anti-trans turf get up and book the place out for a speaking thing didn't match what that particular organization, that particular location supports. And so some people wrote, well, they basically put it on Blue Sky, I think it was, to Julie Ferry, who is the city councillor in charge of the public spaces. And her response was, people have messaged me saying they feel there is a bit of a mismatch here. I've spoken to the operations team because I can't do anything about it as an elected member officially, but I've spoken to the operations team to see if there is another venue that might be a better match. And that was it. Like, that was the whole thing that she put out there. And then she followed it with, just to make sure people are aware, trans women are women, she's very supportive in this kind of stuff. That, according to Annie, and I can never remember her name, the person in charge of the Free Speech Union, was threatening to cancel the event because of their beliefs. And that's what they put out in press releases. That was what they put out in about 20 different social media comms pieces, that Auckland Council was trying to cancel them again. It was really specifically designed to get people amped up with that misdirection, because they're so good at that.
They don't really believe in free speech. I mean, they're not a free speech union. The last week of news cycle should tell everyone that. It defines them well.
Yeah, and I hope people remember that when the Curia poll comes out next, because Free Speech Union, Taxpayer Union, they're almost identical.
Oh, look how wrong it was. There's been 2 polls since from people who are RANZ approved. It was completely off the charts wrong. Yeah,
rogue poll. So Trippy was right. Back to our presentation. If you are running these events, get questions in advance if you can. And there's a couple of reasons for it. One is to stop repeat questions. You're going to get half a dozen people, for example. Especially if you're at an event that's around industry, you're going to get people who are really specific. Yeah, I've got a question around pay or rights or access to peripheral things that I need. That might just be framed in slightly different ways. So making sure your questions are screened in advance stops people from repeating questions. It also stops softball questions for preferred candidates. Have you guys ever been to an event where it's basically, oh my God, why are you so great to the candidate? It's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous.
It'd just be cringe.
I went to one last time and it was, I know you're really busy to, I think it was our national candidate at the time. I know you're really busy, but if you saw the Labour candidate parked on the side of the road with a flat tire, would you stop to help him? And it's just like, oh my God. Yeah. Very
Stop
strange.
wasting our time. People are starving.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Then we've got stop targeted traps for specific candidates to monopolize time. So that is, I'm going to go and yell at David Seymour because it's David Seymour, and that's it. And as much fun as it is to watch that for us on the left, it's not fair to everybody in the audience who might actually want to go out and learn about candidates. And then stop events being derailed by specific viewpoints, which I'm going to bring up Kiwi South's comment here, because I think this is a really good example of it. Meet the Candidates in Blenheim was a cesspit, I heard. The moderators had their own agenda. The PSA members yelled throughout, and the Labour rep hardly said a word. National New Zealand First spoke a lot. If you've got a biased moderator, then that tends to happen. So if you've got questions screened in advance, it's a much safer way of making sure everything runs smoothly. What was your experience like with the questions that you were moderating down in Dunedin, Bree?
It was good. I just kind of got everyone to stand in a line, and then I would bring each person forward. And if it had already been asked, I'd go, oh, that's a great question. I've already got something in a similar vein. So, but thank you for coming up. And then I'd just send them on their way. And then the occasional person I'd get to sit down. I felt like it went really smooth. What I do find awkward is telling them to keep it brief and yeah, it's just a bit awkward, but most people were really good. And I was proud of them. Also, one person at a time. I've got to remember remind people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have their say. Have you ever had this situation before, Jackson?
No, not really. No, can't say I have. I haven't gone to enough of these events. I'm such an online bug, but I need to get out more and experience them because they're making them so fun. And now I know how to engage.
Yes, and fact checks. I should do it like a checklist for people. Put that up on the website one of these days.
That's a good idea.
That's the end of my slides on events. Is there anything that you guys would like to add about events in general?
It's been interesting watching them pull on their own events. It's less interesting to me. I think Paul Henry's doing his own little tour of meet Paul Henry events. I don't care. I would rather go to one with the ACT Party telling us what the ACT Party policies are. That's more helpful to me. I get that there's the electorate vote or whatever, but that's why I prefer debates and things when you've got sort of neutral people running it and then the MP is coming. So I definitely recommend going to something like that to everyone because I think it's a different thing than going to a local MP public meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know he was doing a roadshow. It's kind of just bizarre, isn't it, that he's a list MP who's taking up all the leadership spotlight, really. It's quite odd. But those were very good tips, Paul. It's going to be very handy for my event. They've encouraged me to go to an event. And I think, listening to all perspectives, I guess, is the biggest takeaway for me, and not booing people. Not that I would be one to boo anyway, but if people aren't drowned out with the boos, then you might get a chance to get that perfect recording of a moment that the rest of the country should see, and together we can kind of showcase these events to each other.
Yeah, one of the things that I heard Ems mention actually yesterday was she was really surprised in the Dunedin one when you had this picture in your mind of what a candidate or a politician is like. because of the way that they're presented. We see Casey Costello or Todd Stevenson on TV, for example, and they're presented in this, bubble as this is who they are, the party that they stand for. But they're people, they're all candidates are just people. They have their own perspectives, and we might not know necessarily what they are. Have either of you ever come across that situation where you're just like, I did not expect it from this person?
Jackson?
To like them?
Well, just to how humanized they can be. You don't necessarily have to like someone to realize how human they can.
I actually wrote a post that wasn't very popular last week about Christopher Luxon, actually, that I did. Oh, there's so many things I don't like, but I think he was a human being walking through that airport, and I felt a little bit bad for him that he couldn't use his private Air Force jet that day after the news the previous week. But it did remind me that they are just people, and to stick to the facts, within reason. There's some pretty hurtful things that this government have done to people, and some pretty horrible racist things, and changed lives of people in a bad way, and probably for a minor few changed lives in a good way. But I think that clip of him walking through the airport was, to me, I was going, oh, okay, this is a human. But it didn't change, me picking holes at all their economic and financial plan at all. But it is a reminder that they are all human beings behind it all. Some of them acting for the interests of donors and lobby groups and whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
I try to remember that no one thinks they're a villain in their head. Like, no one goes, oh, I'm purposely ruining disabled people's lives. Like, ha ha ha. No one does. They just, in their heads, they're like, well, long term, it's worth the benefit, like, or the cut off now. Like, in their heads, they think they're right.
That's right. They're like Ruth Richardson and that think tank last week told me this is going to work, so it's going to work. They believe it, right? So that's why they're there.
Yeah. So that's why it's hate on the idea, not the person.
Yeah.
Try really hard, guys. Yeah.
I know it can be. Like, some people make it. There are some politicians that you just like, I want to really hate the individual. And there are some people who are absolutely horrible. Sasha has just given a great example from the States, Stephen Miller. But like he comes across as a cartoon villain. I still think he probably is in real life. Like just nothing tells me he is human at all in any shape, way, or form. But our politicians, I think because we have such easy access to our politicians most of the time, that we could see them more humanized if we wanted to. And sometimes we don't want to. It's because it's easier to hate the person because of the shitty thing that they're doing.
Yeah. It tends to be at events, right? They become more human, or when not, obviously that I haven't been to these particular election related events, but I do see politicians at events, other events.
Yeah.
That's when you see that they're human and they believe the stuff that they say, sometimes weirdly.
I try to remember we have more in common than apart. Like I watched this drag queen speaking with like a conservative political commentator, and they were both had so much in common. They both love the environment. They both care about, and I probably have more in common with the MPs I shit on every day than I want to believe.
But you're not attacking them personally, right? You're attacking their work and giving them feedback on their work.
And maybe they will become better people because of that feedback.
Come on, Paul, you're being silly now.
I know. It's been a long weekend. It's been an exhausting long weekend. How about we wrap up with the sticky question, and then we can go back to our poll. Actually, I'll bring the poll up real quick so people can do this before I jump into the sticky question. This is, have you ever been to an in-person Meet the Candidate event? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for not sure. I love the fact that we've actually got some people who have said that they're not sure. Yeah, cool. So yeah, we'll go through the sticky question, then we'll come back and see what the final results of that are. So tonight's sticky question. I'm not going to say where this one came from because that would give away the game. But here is the question for anybody listening. I listened to Daniel Ebb, the number 2 for opportunity at the OUSA debate, the Otago University Students Association debate, talk about how the free market will fix climate change so government doesn't need to. And I'm really worried people don't see this stuff because the party leaders dominate the media. How can we get more informed about the other candidates in a party that aren't getting the media coverage that the leaders do? Who wants to risk tackling it first?
I think it could be something you could put to the leaders, like to when you do see the leaders in an event, like tell us more about your candidates, tell us more about who represents who you would want in certain positions within your cabinet and stuff, like who has expertise in what areas, because they should know, and it would be telling if they didn't. And yeah, I think filming those events and putting them online is helpful too, so people do see. Like that lady from New Zealand First. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, this would tie in really nicely, actually.
Yeah.
I think it is good to ask the leaders, right? Especially with to your point, Brie, that if there's something that you're seriously interested in, for me, I'd be asking if it wasn't an economic and finance person, what the economic and finance person's view is on this and who they are and what their credentials are, perhaps. But I think it is probably mostly on us all to make sure that we're actually going to these events and recording and paying attention and probably using social media to communicate with each other and socialize these things that we're seeing from these parties where the leaders do tend to dominate the space, and they'll only dominate the space more in the lead up to the election as well. But there's more people behind a party, right? Like how many of us knew who, other than David Seymour and Brooke, were in the ACT Party before the last election? But maybe if we socialised it a little bit more, we could have learnt more about the people behind the party. So I think social media and phones. Sorry,
that's
Brie, what was that?
When they just pop up at election time, I'm like, like if you'd been visible as a party, like for the last 3 years, then we wouldn't all be asking who you are,
Yeah.
There were stories this week, actually, who is Chris Pink after what happened? And I'm like, I know who Chris Pink is because I live in the north of Auckland. So he's an MP from not far from here. But he's also the only national MP that I've ever been able to get on camera this term to sit down and have an interview with. None of the others do it. I know BHN has had a huge amount of trouble, in particular getting National to agree to their conversations and their debates. But that kind of anonymity, I was surprised by. I was genuinely surprised when people were like, who is this person? In the areas that you guys, for your electorates, do you know all of your candidates?
Jenny versus Bish.
That's going to be a fascinating one.
I know. Sure.
We've got Barbara here. Yeah, I'm not sure of many others. I should learn that too. Yeah.
That's why you can go to these events.
That's why I got to go to an event. Yeah, now I know how to go to an event. I'm going to learn.
Yes, exactly.
But Barbara, it's not because of it's because she's the finance spokesperson. So that's the thing that I'm looking at in a party.
Out of curiosity, actually, Jackson, with your expertise in that field, how well do you feel, completely off topic here, how well do you feel the major parties communicate their finance policies, or have so far communicated their finance policies?
Probably haven't seen much across the board, really. I believe it's quite an expensive thing to do, like alternative budgets. I want to see an alternative budget. Like probably most of the country doesn't care, but I think we should care this election is seeing what an alternative budget looks like, especially from the people who are in there at the moment with their coalition partners. But it's pretty hard to cost things out, and it can get quite boring, I think. Like people just want to hear the to the point of a lot of things was the key message behind a policy, rather than we're going to pay for it with all this long-winded story. But not a lot yet, but we'll probably see more closer to the
When is
election, you would hope.
pre-fill due? Because pre-fill will give us an idea as to how
September?
bad or... Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It starts, maybe. We might not even see it because of the election.
Oh, it's out for the election. That's sort of...
Oh, of
that's
course,
why
yeah.
we're supposed to get it.
But the with the election last time, the National Party didn't have their kind of costed out plan, that was done from, is it Castalia Consulting? That didn't come out until 2 weeks before the election, I think. It was very close to the election. So
yeah, it was about the time that early voting started.
And that's one of the biggest parties, so I don't think we'll see one from everyone. And it was wrong anyway. So what's the point in it?
I love that scene of Jack Tame sitting and just like pointing and laughing at, this is your plan. This is your plan. And yeah, people bought it. People voted for it. Yeah.
People learn, right? People learn. And they're not going to make the same mistake, right?
I hope not.
Yes.
I guess we'll see. Before we sign off, is there anything you guys want to pitch? Any way that people should be able to track you down? Anything you want to sell?
Yes, come check me out on I Am Brie Elliott, because I'm going to be doing some online webinars, which I will be posting about. So you can come check it out. I'm going to be talking about living as a Pākehā in alignment with Te Tiriti, and how we can support and encourage that within our legislative processes. But it'll be really fun, and I'm excited.
It is a very cool event to be part of, that one.
Yes, yeah, I'm very excited.
That is so cool. I'm not going to pitch and sell anything, of course not on a Sunday. But I would say, please follow me on Facebook. I'm new to Facebook. I'm new to getting roasted by all these, what do I call them? Kind of angry uncles and stuff who come into my comment sections. But I am on TikTok as well and Instagram, but I am spending a lot more time writing things, because some of these, when policies come out from parties, I tend to try and summarize them from a financial perspective most of the time. It tends to be on there. It's a bit easier for people to digest, because no one can hang in there with a video that's all about finance and economy. Some people can, but not very many. So follow me there on Facebook would be amazing. But please register to vote, because you can't register to vote as late as you could last election, and please encourage your friends and whānau to do the same.
Brilliant. Question here from Samantha Reed as well for you, Brie. Really, really quick one. Just as a reminder, that was whangarei.
Yeah, I think it'll be online.
Yeah, I think they do like live streaming of it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll post about it like within the next week, this week.
Yeah. It's a great event. Are you going up for it, or are you streaming in?
I'm just doing it online, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It's a pity, because whangarei's, they've got this awesome museum that the Huntawasa is like absolutely like brilliant, beautiful. And it's right across the road from Pack and Save, which is a really weird thing, but
that's good though.
Fascinating town is whangarei. I absolutely love it. If you guys will just wait there a second for me, I'm going to press the stop button very soon. We're just going to do one more quick check on our poll. Have people ever been to an in-person Meet the Event? I'm actually really surprised by how close this is. 49% have been, 45% haven't, and 6% aren't sure. 6% is 3 votes. And this one said 3 people not so sure if they've been to an event or not. Keep an eye out on your local community Facebook pages. There's bound to be people that show up. If you're a member of a union, there's bound to be events put on as well through those unions. If you're not a member of a union, maybe consider it as an option. There is going to be a whole bunch of different community groups that have these events, so keep an eye out. The politicians want to talk to you. Have you guys had this thing pop up in your area? I know we've got it happening here, where the parties, because everything is so close, the party candidates in one area are getting together and go, come meet us. We had it with Opportunity with the North Shore candidates, and we've got it with New Zealand First candidates, I think, coming up fairly soon.
I have seen that with Opportunity, yeah. around here. It's kind of like a group of them doing it, which kind of confuses things a little bit more, I think.
Yeah.
Having a group of people rather than just your one person. It makes sense
makes
with
sense.
Māori electorates because you can have two people
Yeah.
in the same space. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a big space as well, though. Yeah. Right. I think that's it. I'm going to sign off. Sit tight. We'll do the end stream thing and make sure everything is working fine. Everybody who has been watching, thank you very much. And we'll be back again at some point. I know Jordan's working on a documentary for the next one, and hopefully he is feeling better enough to actually be able to present it. And I think I've got something due for a documentary next time on tourism. So we will worry about that next time. Yeah. Jackson, thank you so much for stepping in as well last minute. Really appreciate it. It's been fantastic having you here.
Thanks for having me.